Hey guys, Steve and Eric here from Top Guns out of Terre Haute, Indiana. Eric, what are we going to be taking a look at today?
Today we've got the new Sig Sauer P320 XC.
Great, I'm looking forward to this one.
This gun feels good.
Yeah.
Today we've got the Sig Sauer P320 XC. It's a 9mm handgun, overall length 7 inches with a 3.6 inch barrel length. Height of the gun is 5.3 inches and a weight of 25.3 ounces.
Okay, this gun's going to be supplied to you with 2 mags, capacity 15 rounds each. It comes standard with the Flat X series trigger. Sights are the X-ray front sight, and the rear sight is going to be a 2-dot sight that also has the removable plate so that you can put an RMR or something of that nature on the top. You have your black polymer X grips, black nitron stainless steel finish. Your MSRP is going to be at $804, but I think you'll probably find this locally around $650 mark, somewhere in there. We're going to start off by giving a little bit of an accuracy test. We're going to be standing at around 15 feet. We just want to see how tight of a group we can hold. Eric's going to throw 5 rounds down range. I'm going to do the same. Let's just see what type of group we can hold with it. I'm going to assume you were probably aiming at
I was. It shoots a little low for me.
So shooting a little low. I'll be curious to see if it does the same for me, and that'll tell us a lot at that point. What was your thoughts on the trigger?
Trigger felt good. It's got a little bit different reset. There's not much travel in it before the trigger resets. I really like that feature.
Okay, I'm going to throw 5 down range and see how it works. This kind of mirrors what Eric saw as well. Both of us were aiming at the square black mark here, and both of us shot, our groups were a little bit on the low side. I'm gonna tell you, that was probably a flyer for me. That was probably a fluke. You can see clearly this is the group that it's holding. And I would say it holds a nice group.
It does. It's an accurate pistol.
And I did notice when I typically throw shots, I typically throw my shots to the left. This was a little bit different. My shots are obviously not by much, but they're a little bit to the right. That's different for me. I also want to try throwing some downrange, a little more rapid fire. All right, so you know what I failed to do? I forgot. I asked Eric. Don was tied up. Eric's one of our not only our range officers but our head instructor here, and so he just had his hand operated on, his right hand, and so. I never even thought about the fact that today's, what, your second day shooting a gun? Or?
Yeah.
So today's the second day shooting a gun. He just had it operated on, what, a week ago?
A couple weeks, yeah.
Or 2 weeks, okay. So I didn't realize it, but I'm probably putting him through some pain. All right, there's 4 from my last one, there's 1, and then there's all 5 from this group. The gun is shooting exactly where it ought to be. I'll tell you, probably Eric and myself both did the same thing. The notch on that rear sight is very deep, and you and I are probably used to our standard sights, which you bring that front bead and you bury it into that notch, and it's right there. There's not a lot of extra room below where it's supposed to be. This one has a lot of extra room. If you literally line up the top of the front post with the top of the rear, and then line that up with that,
okay,
it hits right where it's supposed to. Now, having said that, I don't like the sights. So, because of what I'm used to, but for someone who uses that type of sight, I'm sure they'll probably perform really well with it.
Since we now know how it's sighted, I'd love to take another crack at it.
Absolutely, please do.
With where it's hitting at and my normal sight picture, I don't care for it. That gun shoots low for the sight picture that I use each and every day.
I know, and I'm with him on this. If you don't consciously, and hopefully you're able, during the B-roll on this, he's able to get the front sight back there so you can see how much extra play there is in there.
That aside, the gun is very pointable. I think it's a perfect size for a concealed carry gun. And I love the capacity. 15 plus 1, a concealed carry handgun, 9mm is the norm these days. And I think as far as that goes, they're right on track.
All right, things I like about the trigger. I like that it breaks reasonably soft. There's not that, a lot of times when you're shooting a striker fire, you get that little flinch at the end that just because the break isn't quite smooth, and so the break on that's not bad, so I don't mind that at all. The reset wasn't too bad. I thought it had a decent reset, especially for a defensive handgun.
Right. It's a short reset, and I do like that on a defensive handgun.
Obviously, kind of mirroring what we saw even during our slow test, just a little bit where appears to be hitting just a little on the low side. And I'm sure it's going to be the same for me. My groups will be wider than his groups because he's a better fast shooter than I am.
That gun feels extremely forgiving on the recoil too. Have you noticed that?
Yes. You know, if anything, if I had any complaint so far, it would be in the advertisements that I've seen. It's this gun sitting next to the 365, and my anticipation was that it was going to be just a smidget bigger. It was going to be basically a 365, small little slide, thinner gun on a frame that was a little bit longer so that you could fit the 15 rounds in it.
Right.
Truth be known, I still like the size of the 365 better for a deep concealment gun. This gun's not, it's still a 320, it's still a thicker slide.
Yeah.
So
it is much bigger than the 365. I wouldn't say much, but it is considerably bigger.
I don't think initially when it was spoke about, a lot of people were saying that, hey, this is going to cannibalize the 365 because it holds, it's the right size grip, so you don't have to buy the grip extension, and it just made sense. After getting it in my hand, I don't see that being the case.
No, I think there's a market for both guns.
It's a different beast.
It is.
Absolutely.
A whole different animal.
You know what? Makes me happy he got his hand operated on. I get to beat him for once. First, it pains me that I probably shot it a little better than I shoot my sidearm that I currently carry.
Okay.
Rapid fire and even slow fire. Typically what happens if I pick up a gun that's not my usual side carry, I don't typically hold as tight of a group as I would with my, especially once I go to rapid fire, as I do with my sidearm. That's the main reason. Now what I will say is I had to consciously, because of those sights while I was rapid firing, I had to consciously keep that front post from getting buried in there, or else I have a feeling all my shots would have been low. So the one thing I don't like about this gun so far, and this is without sticking 1,000 rounds downrange or 5,000 downrange, the one thing that I've seen that I don't like about it, the rear sights don't appear that you can replace them. It's cut out for an RMR,
right,
which means you can't slide, and these rear sights are attached to that plate, which means you can't slide these things out and slide a new set in by just buying a set of sights for a 320. You're kind of stuck with what's there unless something else is going to come out, which means you're probably going to have to replace that whole entire plate with whatever sight picture that you end up liking. I'm not a fan of, I like the green front sight, that doesn't bother me, it's quick to pick up. I don't like the rear sight at all, but having said that, it seemed to perform pretty well. I mean, other than we had to figure out how to hold it so that we're not shooting low with it.
Right.
I felt like even rapid fire, it did pretty decent, held a decent group for both of us. You just had your your hand operation, and you still held a tight group. So I don't know. What are your thoughts?
You know, for a firearm that I never fired before in my life, I was pleased with the way it shot. I totally agree with what you're saying about the sights. I think they've got a little bit of work to do on their sights. I didn't care for the fact that my natural sight picture puts my rounds low. To me, that's an issue. But as far as pointability, size of the gun for a concealed carry application, I think it's spot on.
Yeah. All right, guys, let us know your thoughts. Also, let us know, have we ever done a video with you before? One, maybe?
Maybe one.
One or two, something maybe? Okay. Let us know your thoughts on Eric. We all know he's not as pretty as Kylie or Jennifer.
Sorry for that.
But Eric has a lot of firearms knowledge. We want to know your thoughts. Would you like to see Eric in a few more videos and get his input? I know I value his opinion highly, and so, and quite frankly, I also value his guidance in shooting because he's helped me pull my groups in quite a bit. For those of you that want to train with Eric, you're more than welcome to schedule a class and get in here and do some training with Eric as well.
As always, folks, thank you for joining us. Be sure to tap your little bell down below. That way you'll get notifications of future videos.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Perfect.
Okay. As always, folks, we want to thank you for joining us. That's not what I was supposed to say.
That's fine.
Okay.
That works.
As always, folks, we want to thank you for joining us. Be sure to tap, as always, folks, thank you for joining us. Be sure you hit the little bell down below so you get updates on when we'll have future videos coming out.
All right, do it again.
Thanks for following us. Jay, quit laughing.
I'm sorry. You were just like a machine. You kept going back.
Just so you all know, Eric always wonders what takes us so long to do a video in here. Now he's getting the idea.
Now I get it. Yeah, okay.